Hello YouTube. I'm going to show you how to wire up a fully duophonic patch as well as a two-note paraphonic patch using the Pittsburgh Midi2 module. So the first thing to note is make sure your Midi2 is in paraphonic mode or polyphonic mode, whatever the P stands for. It stands for something. It's the middle position there. So to keep things organized, I'm going to try to color code these with the first voice blue, the second voice yellow, so you can kind of keep track of what's going on. So we'll take the CV output of the MIDI into the 1 volt per octave of the DPO oscillator. I guess before we start, let me just mention that duophonic means that you have two completely separate voices. They have separate oscillators, separate filter, separate amp, separate envelopes that trigger things. So two separate voices you can play independent of each other or together. Whereas paraphonic is really just, you still have two separate pitches you can play, but they're just routed through all the same stuff. So they're routed through one filter, one amp, one envelope triggering it. I'll just show you a couple different ways that works depending on what modules you have, you know. So yeah, we'll start with the duophonic. I'll just do voice 1 first. So we've already got this. Let's take the output of the let's take the sawtooth output of the DPO, and we'll take that into our first input of our mixer. And what I'm going to do is, to try to keep things consistent, I'm going to run the make noise DPO oscillator through the IntelliGeo filter, and I'm going to run an IntelliGeo oscillator through the make noise filter, and hopefully they'll balance out and kind of sound like pretty similar voices, you know, so no matter what you play, you're kind of getting the same sound. So for this, we're going to take the output of this and run it through the IntelliGeo filter here, the UVCF. Take the low pass output into the first VCA here. And then, so that's pretty much the audio routed. Let's do the same thing for voice 2. Take the CV of yellow channel. We'll go into the 1 volt per octave of the Dixie oscillator. Then we'll take the saw from here as well into channel 2 of our mixer. Take the output of that into the input of the MMG, the multi-mode gate. From there, the output of that into the input of our second VCA. Okay, so then the next thing to do is I'm just going to hook the mixed output of this VCA into the final outs module of the whole modular, which just right now is running through a delay pedal and then into the computer. So right now we've got our audio all patched up. It would make a noise, but we don't have anything triggering our envelopes or turning our VCA on, so we wouldn't hear anything. Let's go ahead and do that. So for channel 1, we'll take the gate output, and I'm going to use make noise functions for my envelopes. They're really great. You can use them as LFOs, slew generators, attack release envelopes, as well as attack sustain release envelopes, which is how I'm going to use them. So we've got the gate going into that input there, and then we're going to take the positive output and trigger our VCA by going into the CV input. So that's 1. We'll do the same thing over here with the gate 2 into this function. I have 2 of them because they're so amazing. So that's in there. We'll take the we'll take the output. Gonna mess up our color coding just a little bit here. At least it's gray, it's neutral, it's not like it's red or something. So yeah, we'll go from here into this CV of this amp. So now everything's patched up. We should hear some sound. Before we do that, though, I'm just going to go ahead and run the envelopes into the filters as well. So we'll take this guy, send him to here. That'll kind of swell up the filter as the amp gets triggered, and then we'll do the same thing for our blue channel. Boom. All right, so we've got 2 fully patched up voices. Let's try it out. Cool. If you notice this little light right here, that's indicating that CV and gate 1 are being triggered. Cool. If I play another note at the same time, both should light up, and we should hear both notes simultaneously. Awesome. And you can tell there's 2 fully separate voices because we can do things like this. They kind of both swell up independent of each other. Nice. So that works. That's cool. So that's a fully duophonic setup there. Let's say you don't have 2 of everything or even 2 of one of these things. It's pretty easy to cut it down to just a paraphonic mode with just 1 of everything except for the oscillators. So to do that, we're going to keep the blue channel intact, and we're just going to kind of strip away things from the yellow. We'll start with this this amp and this filter. Say goodbye to the MMG. Okay, so what we've got right now is oscillators still being tracked independently from the keyboard. However, we just have the 1 gate, and what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to take both these gates and mix them together, so no matter what you hit, you're going to get something happening, some sound. Mostly it would probably work fine with just the 1, but just to be safe, let's mix these in here. So this is just a Pittsburgh M3, just a little mixer and mult. And then we'll take the output of these. Oh, we're breaking our color coding again, but it's okay this time. And we'll go ahead and trigger our envelope with it. So now, if I were to play 2 notes. So we're only hearing the 1. Can anybody spot the mistake right now? It's here. We're not taking both the outputs of the oscillators. So what we need to do is just move this guy from output number 1 to the mixed output. Just going to mix everything in the filter together, or in the mixer together. Now we should hear 2 notes. So you can hear that we still can play chords, we can still play intervals, but we don't get those 2 independent swelling notes that we were able to get before. So note 2 comes in right where note 2's envelope is. It doesn't get its own filter or anything. So that's cool. That looks like it works right, but let's see what happens when we play 1 note by itself. Oh, we're still getting two pitches. That's because we don't really have a way using 1 amp and 1 filter to, with this setup, turn off the other oscillator when it's not being used. I guess if you had some kind of switch where you could detect if there's CV coming out of this and then take it out of the mix and put it back in if it is on there. But if you have all that, you might as well just you probably have 2 VCAs too, so you might as well just do Duophonic. So yeah, it's going to keep the pitch of the one that's not being triggered the way it was before, the last time you hit it. But if you have it wired up like this, you can still play cool chords and everything, just as long as you play them together, or you want 1 droning tone. So. Cool. So that is Duophonic and Paraphonic. Yeah, hopefully it's been handy to somebody out there. Other than that, happy wiggling. Good night, YouTubers.